chances are you probably tried escaping the matrix. Maybe you watched a bunch of videos about some guru shoving down business models down your throat, swearing theirs is the best, that's gonna make you the most money and get you to that dream 10k a month. Now, you also probably watched some random Instagram reel or TikTok telling you about this random ass high paying career like an oil rig worker in the middle of the deep ocean, where quite frankly, the only thing that actually appealed to you was the money being made in that career. And what does the average person do with all of that? They try a business model, they fail, and they go, oh, this person's a scammer, they're LARPing, they're actually fake, this doesn't work, etc. And look, you're not completely wrong, but you're not right either, because here's the actual problem. It's not the gurus, it's not the business model, it's that our generation has become too focused on the outcome, the money, the fame, the cars, the lifestyle, and we've given zero thought on how actually to get there. And this raises the real question: how do we find our purpose? How do we find our career that we want to do? How do we find what we want to do in life? Well, I'm going to give you a step-by-step framework on how to actually do exactly that. But before I do, I need you to understand something first, and it's probably not what you're thinking. Now, I'm not sitting here telling you I have this all figured out. Quite frankly, I don't. I was in the exact same position though, not too long ago. But through countless hours of research, reading hundreds of books, and speaking to people who've actually figured it out, I was able to put together a framework that's helped me and people I know get more clarity than anything else we've literally tried. And honestly, making this video is part of the framework itself. I'm testing whether I actually enjoy this, which you'll find out and understand in a second. So here's the thing I need you to hear before anything else. And this is the mistake that's causing everything else to go wrong for you. You need to stop chasing the outcome. Whatever it is you want, the money, the cars, the lifestyle, trust me, I want it just as much as you do, but you need to stop making that your filter for choosing what you want to do in life, because here's exactly what's going to happen when you do. I want you to think about this. In whatever field you choose to go into, there are people that genuinely love what they do, like it's constantly on their mind 24/7 because they genuinely love it. They're thinking about it. It doesn't even feel like work to them. Like they're just doing it, constantly improving, always ahead, because for them it's not a grind, it's genuinely what they love, it's just what they do. You're not going to be able to compete with those people, especially if you don't actually like what you're doing. And if you don't actually care about what you're doing, you're never going to be able to compete with these guys, not with discipline, not with motivation, not with anything, because these guys, they genuinely love what they do and they're genuinely hungry. They're constantly feeding their brains with more knowledge, constantly figuring out how to improve, constantly reading up on the newest things. You're never going to be able to surpass them. You're going to need to like what you actually do. And I'll be real with you, discipline alone is hard, and especially when you're pairing it up when doing something for months and you don't genuinely like it, it's basically impossible. I know this personally. I tried those business models, remember the ones I was speaking about earlier? It was so hard for me to do the work because it genuinely irked my soul. It was so difficult for me to be able to sit down and do the work because I genuinely hated it. And when you have no real pull towards what you're doing, every day feels like you're gonna be swimming against the current. And trust me, those hard days are gonna be there no matter what. But when you're doing something you genuinely care about, those same hard days actually hit completely differently. You push through them because you want to, because you actually give a damn and you care about what you're doing. It doesn't feel like a chore, but even when those hard days come, you're gonna be able to breeze by them because you're gonna remember, oh, I enjoy this, or oh, I actually care about this for whatever reason you have. And imagine when you pair this up with discipline, you're literally gonna be unstoppable and you're gonna literally be number one in whatever you do. Everything you desire will come. The cars, the lifestyle, the money, the status, it's all a byproduct of being genuinely good at what you do, which makes it 1,000 times easier if you truly enjoy and like what you do. So whatever the output it is that you want, the money, the cars, whatever it is, just stop chasing it directly. It'll come to you. And your job right now is to figure out what you actually want your input to be. So what it is that you actually want to do. Which brings us to the real question. How do you even know where to start looking? When most people try to answer the question of, oh, what's my purpose or what career do I want to pursue? Here's what's actually happening. They think about it, they watch a couple of videos, they have long conversations with people, and then months pass, maybe even years, and they haven't moved a single step closer to actually figuring it out. I came across an example that made me feel so stupid for genuinely doing this because it showed me exactly how ridiculous I looked from the outside. Imagine you're driving and you hit a fork in the road. You got left and right. You have no GPS, your phone is dead, you have no way to figure out which way is the correct direction. What's the only logical thing a person would do in that situation? You pick a direction, drive for a bit, see if it's right. If it's not, you can simply just U-turn. check the other way, and even if you go down for a while and it seems right for a bit, but you notice that it's not the correct way, again, you can simply U-turn when you realize it's wrong. The U-turn is always going to be an option for you. Now, here's the thing. That's not what we actually do in our lives. Instead, we're sitting in a parked car, watching videos about what road might be better, overthinking, telling people I'm considering this direction, I'm thinking about pursuing this, but you're not actually doing anything to getting closer to finding out. You're not actually moving, and that's the entire problem. We've made this decision feel more permanent and way bigger than it actually is. You're not actually signing a contract with the universe when you're trying something. Don't think that trying stuff and not liking it is a waste of time, because quite frankly, you're collecting very important data, which will eventually help you find your path. The only true waste of time is continuing to think about what you want to do rather than actually trying the stuff that you want. So the question is, where do you even start? And that's exactly what I'm going to answer in a moment. There's a book called Mastery by Robert Greene, genuinely one of the best things I've read. And he gives this exercise, and I think it's the best starting point for all of this to be able to answer those questions. Think back to when you were ages of between 5 to 12 years old, or however far back you can remember, and ask yourself, what did you truly enjoy when you were younger? What did you actually like to do? Not because somebody told you to do it, not because there was money in it, not because there was external pressure pushing you to do it, but what did you actually want to do? You thought, oh, this seems fun, or oh, this seems cool, I may want to try this, I want to try that. Go back and try to remember, recollect those memories and think about it, because when we were at that age, we literally just did whatever we wanted. We didn't have the pressure of people telling us focus on our future, stop wasting your time, etc. It's only when we got older that all of that started. You got told to focus more on math or science because you were falling behind. That weird hobby you were doing, whatever it was, you got told to stop because there was no future in it. And you slowly started doing less of what you actually like to do and more of what you were told to do. So try to think for as far back you can remember, and even if you can't remember, you can ask your relatives, close siblings, even your parents, and they'll tell you what you were constantly rambling about or constantly doing. Here's what you'll notice. The things you've done as a kid almost always fall under the same category or umbrella. For me, it was sports. I love football, soccer, basketball, skateboarding, anything physical, to be honest, I was there. And the thing is, you don't randomly just jump to something completely outside of that. I wasn't suddenly going to discover my passion or love for theoretical physics, for example. That's just not how it works. Your interests clutter. They stay under one general umbrella, but there's always that small chance where it does. And what this exercise actually does is help you find that umbrella or category. So instead of testing random things and wasting your time, you actually know the zone which you should be looking in. Now, finding the zone is only half of it. Now, you have to test what's inside it. And most people are doing this part completely wrong. So, you've got your umbrella. You know the general category you're in. Now, you want to see how those interests could actually translate into something real, such as a career or something you work on your entire life, which is your purpose. If you like drawing, for example, you might venture and want to test something such as graphic design or UX design. If you were always taking things apart when you were younger, you could probably venture into engineering, and maybe you might have a passion for that. You're not expected to pull things from thin air, but rather you're actually meant to follow the trend which has been there since you were a child. Now, once you got a whole list of things you want to explore, here's what I want you to do. Shit on all of them. Seriously. For every single thing on that list, literally write the worst parts of each. The ugly parts, the parts nobody writes about or posts about on their Instagram or YouTube, the parts that nobody glorifies. Because we truly have a problem of only seeing the good side of careers. You think you want to go into coding, you see the tech salary, the remote work, the career flexibility, but what you're not imagining is the 6 hours of work trying to find one mistake buried somewhere in thousands of lines of code. That's the actual job, and you have to see if that's something you can actually tolerate, because like I mentioned previously, those hard days are going to come, and if you're not going to be able to stick through the hard work, trust me, the guy that loves his job is going to be able to do that and tolerate it. Look at the negatives first and see if you can actually handle the difficult parts of that career. If it is, then it's probably a good thing for you, a good indication. You should continue to test that, whatever it is that you want out. But if it makes you feel sick, that's also a good sign. If you're not able to continue this, if you're not able to tolerate the hard work or the negatives from it, that's completely fine. Like we mentioned earlier, you can just cross it off and simply just do a U-turn, because you gained one more data point which is going to help you get closer to finding your dream career or your purpose. Okay, so you look through the bad parts of that career and you're still interested. Now what? Here's where most people go wrong. They think they need a course, a degree, or 6 months of research before they can actually try something, but that's actually completely wrong. They don't. Do the smallest possible version of whatever it is you want to try today, right now. Pause this video and go try it. You want to try graphic design? Don't enroll in a course, don't watch a YouTube video, don't do any of that. Literally go on Pinterest, find a poster or whatever that you want to copy, go open in Canva, whatever free software or application, and literally try copying it. If you don't know how to do something, fine, you can search it up to try and learn it, but literally that's the max. Here's why this works. The experience of actually doing something as a beginner is realistically the same as when you're doing it with normal knowledge. The process is identical, you're just literally going to be better at doing what you do. And like I said earlier, if you like it, you found that you enjoyed the process, continue. You can start educating yourself, learning better techniques and getting better at it. And if you don't, like I said again, just U-turn, cross it off and go to the next thing. You could try a different thing every single week if you want to have it in a bit of slower time span. But I know people that literally try 3 things a day, which is a bit excessive in my opinion, but you get the idea. If you try something every single week, in a month, you've literally tested 4 different careers. We are making this so much more complicated than it actually needs to be, when it's actually quite simple. And here's the beautiful part. Once you actually find that right direction, you're no longer guessing, which brings us back to where we actually started. Look, this framework isn't magic. It's not going to give you the answers overnight, but if you actually do it and actually stick to every single thing that I've told you to do, you're literally going to have way more clarity than you started with in the next month than you had in the past year, just thinking about what you want to do or what career you want or your purpose. And if you want a more in-depth breakdown with actual actionable steps, check the first link in the description for a free PDF guide.